Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be drafting a basic body pattern, and all you need is just your pattern paper, your ruler, your scissors, your paper scissors, then your curve and your measurements. So the first measurement we have is the shoulder measurement, the bust measurement, the hip measurement, the waist measurement, the hip depth measurement, the shoulder to waist front, the shoulder to waist back, the shoulder to bust point, the shoulder to under bust, and then our nipple to nipple measurement. So these are my own measurements, and you should take yours also. So these are the measurements we need for this pattern, to draft this basic bodice pattern. So the first thing you need to do now is to get your paper size, and to get your paper size you need the bigger measurement of your measurements. Anyone that is bigger, if it's the bust that is bigger or the hips that is bigger. So in my own measurement is the hips that is bigger. So the hips divided by 2 plus 3 inches. The hips divided by 2 plus 3 inches. That is what I use for my paper size here. So you should get your paper size also. Then let me repeat that again. To get your paper size for your body block, you need your hip, the biggest part of the biggest measurements on all your measurements, and mostly it's always either the bust or the hips. In my own case here is the hips that is bigger. So the hips which is 37 divided by 2 plus 3 inches for your dart and any other manipulation you want to I want to do. So when you've gotten the paper size, that's your paper size. When you've gotten your paper size, the next thing you write it somewhere. So the next thing you do, from the top of your paper, just come down by 1 inches just to get your borderline, as in your edge. You don't need to start from the edge of the paper in case the paper is not straight at the edge. So you have a straight line. So just come down from the edge of your paper by 1 inches. Then you just rule it all the way down. So all your measurement now will be starting from this line that you rule, not from the top of the paper again, not from the edge of the paper. All your measurements now is starting from this line. So here now we are placing our paper size that we divided now. So you place the hip measurement that we divided by 2 plus 3 inches, and whatever you divide your own 2, whatever your hips is, divided by 2 plus 3 inches. That is your paper size. That is if your hips is the biggest part of your body. If it's the bust that is the biggest part, use your bust. If it's your hips that is the biggest part, use your hips. So I'm marking my paper size now. So you mark your paper size all the way down your paper, then you rule your line. You rule a straight line all the way down. So that is what I'm doing right now, and please watch the video very well. You will understand everything we are doing here. You understand everything we are doing here. So just rule it all the way down. So that is your paper size. So this box that we just drafted now, we are going to use it for both the front and the back. It's for the front and the back. What we just marked now is for the front and the back. So that is the paper size. So the next measurement we are going to be taking now is the shoulder to waist measurement. That's your shoulder to waist measurement. Now the shoulder to waist front is different from the shoulder to waist back. So there's always difference. So take your shoulder to waist front and take your shoulder to waist back. So you just mark it, whatever yours is, you mark it, and then you rule the line just the way I did it in the video. You rule the line all the way down. Then the next measurement is to take your hip depth, the depth of your hips. So from that, your waist, the last line we rule, which is the waistline, you mark your hip depth. You mark your hip depth and also rule a straight line all the way to the end of the paper size. You also rule it. Okay, so that's it. So when you are done with that, the next measurement we'll be taking is the okay, I'm just trying to straight. The paper is folding. Okay, so the next measurement we are taking now is the shoulder to under bust, shoulder to bust point, shoulder to bust point, and shoulder to under bust. Those are the two measurements we are going to be taking now. The shoulder to your bust point, and then the shoulder to your under bust measurement. So that's what we are marking right now. Now this shoulder to waist, shoulder to bust point, and shoulder to under bust, you don't need to mark it all the way to the back. For me, I'm just marking it all the way to the back just for clarity, but you don't need. It can stop at the front. You know, this paper side is for front and back. So it's not really necessary for you to mark it all the way to the back. You understand? So that's the shoulder to bust points. The first line. The second line is shoulder to under bust, and the third line is shoulder to waist front. We're still going to mark our shoulder to waist back, but this line we marked now is the shoulder to waist front. So the next measurement is the shoulder measurement. So your shoulder measurement divided by 2. Excuse me. You divide your shoulder measurement by 2. So whatever you get, you placed it from the center front. That edge of the paper is now on the center front, and the other side is the center back. So now you place your shoulder measurement from the center front inside the paper. So you rule a straight line. You go down a little and also place the shoulder measurement and rule a straight line, just as you're seeing in the video. So now to get your armhole measurement, you need to divide your bust by 6 plus 1.5. Your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. Whatever your bust is, just divide it by 6. Then you add 1.5 to it. That is your armhole measurement. That is your armhole measurement. So your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 is always standard. It has always worked for me. So that is your armhole measurement. Then you make your shoulder slope first. You mark your shoulder slope of 1 inches. So then you place whatever your answer is, you place it as your armhole. This is mine. I don't want to call any number so that you don't get confused. So this is mine, and just divide yours. Exactly what I said now. Divide yours, and whatever it is, that is your armhole measurement. Then you place it after your shoulder slope, your 1 inches shoulder slope, or you plus it with whatever you plus the 1 inches, the shoulder slope, the 1 inches shoulder slope, plus it with your armhole, whatever you get as your armhole. Then you place it and you mark it. That's your armhole measurement. Then your neckline, 3x3 is the standard neckline for drafting your basic bodies. You can alter it later when you are styling your basic bodies, but for the standard drafting, it's 3x3 for fronts, 3x3. Then you slant your shoulder slope from your neck point to your shoulder point. Then the next thing we are going to do now is to complete our armhole. So you are going to divide your bust by 4. Your bust divided by 4. Whatever the answer is, that is your bust measurement. You take your bust measurement, you divide it by 4. Divide it by 4. So you place it from the center front, you place your measurement. So that is my measurement. So the next thing also is to divide the waist by 4. You take your waist to divide it by 4. Whatever the answer is, you place it on the waist line. You placed it on the waist line. You place it on the waist line. Your waist divided by 4. Whatever it is, you place it on your waist line. Okay? So you shift your paper up to where your hips line is. To where the hip line is. So you also divide your hip by 4. Your hip divided by 4. You divide it. Whatever your answer is, you place it also on the hip line. You place it on the hip line, just the way you're seeing on the screen. Just place it on your hip line, and that is your hip measurement. If you have watched this video to this point, please subscribe to my channel, because we are going to be doing a lot of drafting in this channel. So subscribe, hit the notification bell, so that when I post a video every week, you'll be the first person to be notified. So the next thing, you connect your lines. All the lines you mark, you connect them. That's the bust line, the waist line, and the hip line. You connect them together. Now from the end of the armhole, you go up by 3 inches. It's always standard for everybody. Then you go in by 3/4. That's 0.75. 3/4, 0.75. You go in by 0.75, and you use your armhole. You use your straight ruler to rule it to that point. Then you use your curve ruler to complete the rest of your armhole, just the way you're seeing on the video. Just the way you're seeing in the video. So that is your armhole is complete. So far our front basic body is almost ready. So the next thing is to get your nipple to nipple. Whatever the measurement is, just divide it by 2. You divide it by 2 and you place it on the waist line. You place that measurement on the waist line. You go up to the bust point, you placed it. You go also all the way to the hip line, you placed it. So when you're done, you connect the lines all the way up and all the way down, all the way to the bust point and all the way to the hip line. So that is your nipple to nipple measurement. So when you're done, you are going to take out a dart. So we are taking out a total dart of 1.5 inches. That is three quarter to the right, 3/4 to the left, just the way you're seeing in the video. 3/4 to the right, 3/4 to the left. Then you return it back. That 1.5 inches, everything is 1.5 inches. You return it back to the waistline, just the way I did in the video. Then from your hip line, you go up by 2 inches to connect your darts. You go up by 2 inches to connect your darts. So you just connect your darts and you connect it to the down, connect it down and connect it up. You connect it down, you connect it up. So when you're done, you reshape your side line, your side front line. You reshape it, connect to the bust, and then you connect to the hip. So we are done with the front basic bodies. We are done with the front basic body. So to get your bust dart, the difference between your shoulder to waist front and shoulder to waist back, whatever it is, the difference between your shoulder to waist front and shoulder to waist back, from your bust line, place it all the way down. Mine was 2 inches, so I placed it all the way down and then connect it to the bust point. That is your shoulder, that is your bust dart. That is how to get your bust dart. The difference between your shoulder to waist front and shoulder to waist back, some can be 2 inches, some can be 3 inches. So we are drafting the back now. So you place your shoulder measurement and go down and place it and rule your line. The calculation we make earlier for the armhole is the same thing you are going to use for the back, plus your 1 inch slope. Plus your 1 inch slope. So that is what I'm doing right here in the video. So you just take out your shoulder slope and mark your neckline for the back, which is 1 depth, then 3 inches wide. Just like 3 inches in the front, but for the depth is 1 inches for the back, while the front is 3 inches, the back is 1 inches, but their width is the same thing, 3 inches, 3 inches. So you connect your shoulder slope from your neck point to your shoulder point. Okay, so when we're done with that, the next thing we're going to do now is to place our shoulder to waist back. I told you your shoulder to waist front and your shoulder to waist back is not the same thing. It is not the same thing. So you use your bust dart to align it later. But for now, place your shoulder to waist back. Whatever it is, you placed it. Then you rule your line. If you don't know how to take proper measurements for your basic body, just let me know in the comment section so I can make a video on how to take a measurement for your basic body. So you take your 1 inches back slope. Our back is not straight, so your back needs to be shaped. So to shape it, you take either 3/4, which is 7.5, or you take out 1 inches, just as I did here, but here I took out 1 inches. So it's very important to take out your back slope. Okay, so when you're done with that, now that straight line is no longer your center back. Your center back is now the slope. That slope that we took, that's now the center back. But we are taking the nipple to nipple measurement we took at the front. We are repeating it at the back. Watch the way I placed my ruler where I started from for the nipple to nipple. Repeat the same thing. I started from that straight line for only the nipple to nipple. Any other measurement you are taking now, you are starting from your normal, from the new center back we just created, which is that slanted center back. Okay, so the next measurements now is to place our waist measurement, our bust measurement, sorry. So I'm just trying to confirm what I have here at the front. So you just lift it and place it at the back instead of going back to calculate again. Just check whatever you have at the front, lift it and place it at the back. From that slanted shoulder, from that slanted center back, that is now your new center back. Then the waist also, you check whatever you have there, you place it at the back, plus 1 inches dart. We are taking out 1 inches dart for the back. We are taking out 1 inches dart from the back. So see where I'm starting. I'm taking my measurement from, not that straight line again. Take note of that, please. Okay, so check your hips also. Whatever you have there, bring it to the back and mark it. So when you're done, you connect all the lines. You just connect them just the way you're seeing in the video. So just connect them. So when you're done, you take out your half inches dart to the left, half inches dart to the right, because all the total that we added is just 1 inches. So take out half inches on the both sides. So when you're done, you connect your lines. You connect it up, and you also go up by your 2 inches at the end of the pattern. That's the hip line. Then you connect your darts. So I hope you are understanding this so far. It's a very simple ways to draft your bodies. So the next thing for us to do now is to get our armhole. Just place your curve and just create your armhole. Not like the front that we go in by 3/4. For the back, you don't go in by anything. So we are done with our pattern. So this is what we have. This is how to draft your basic body pattern. So we have our center front, our side back, then our center back. So we have come to the end of this pattern. So on our next class, I'm going to be teaching you how to shape it. That's how to shape your underbust, how to close your dart, your bust dart. Then see you in next is my class.